Sotrot in the Mikdash that there was 21 blasts of the trumpets, of the two silver trumpets, uh, and the Gemara now makes a statement. We counted 21 as the minimal, and we counted 48 as the maximum. There's one day of year that the Gemara says that we will have 48 trumpet blasts of the trumpet. And that we said was during the holiday of Sukkot, during Chalamoid Sukkot, because of the fact that it's Friday. If it's Friday, Erev Shabbat, there's an extra 6 blasts because of honor of Shabbat, we said. And then you have a number of extra blasts that are in honor of the drawing of the water of the Simchat Beit HaShoeva. So that came out, and also because there's a Musaf, because we also said that every tefillah, or every korban, meaning the daily korban, got 9 blasts. The Levi, during the Levi song, they would stop at 3 different places, and they would do 3 blasts, a tekiah, true, and a tekiah. And so for the daily offering, you got 9. You got 9 sounds, because it says that you had 9 by the morning offering, then you had 9 by the afternoon offering. That's 18, and you had 3 sounds. The opening up of the gates. When they opened up in the morning, they would blow the trumpets. Get to a tekiah to tell everyone it's time to everyone to get to their places. The Kohanim have to go where they need to go, the Leviim where they need to go, Israel where they need to go. So that's the minute of 21. That was every day. But of course, during the holiday of Sukkot, you have another 9 for the Musaf. That made it 30. And then you had another 6 because of the Erev Shabbat. There was another 6 blowings to tell the people to stop doing work and to separate from Shabbat and for weekday and Shabbat. And then the rest extra for the water. So we were up to 36, and then you have another 12. The Mishnah enumerated there's 12 more because the Mishnah stated that that there was another 3 on the top of when they open up the gate, Shani Kona on the top, when they're getting ready to go to draw the water. So on the upper gate between the Ezrat Yisrael and Ezrat Nashim, it says that they would go ahead and they would blow 3 before they went down the steps. And then we had another 3 after they came down the steps. That was 6. And then we had another 3 for when they put the arava on the mizbeach, because every day in Sukkot there was a special mitzvah of Hoshanot to place an arava Hoshanot by the mizbeach. That gave another 3. So we had came out to be 48. So the Gemara says, Maslitin, our Mishnah. Now we're on in the art scroll. It's 53b. Most probably it's 53b 3. 50b3 on the top of the page. Maslitin de lo Rabbi Yehuda. Our Mishnah that counts the amount of blasts of the trumpets either at minimum of 21 or maximum at 48 is not in sync with Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Why? Because Rabbi Yehuda, when he counts the blast, how many sounds of the trumpets, he says there was a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 16. Now, what does it mean a minimum of 7? That means he counts we counted until now. We counted a tekiah as 1 sound, a trua as another sound, and a tekiah another sound. We counted that grouping of 3 as 3, right? The tekiah as 1, trua as 2, and tekiah as 3. And that's how we counted throughout the day, right? Let's say they open up the gates in the morning of the Beit HaMikdash, they blew 3 sounds. So we counted it as 3. Rabbi Yehuda does not count it as 3. He counts that group as 1. I like that, Mr. Haber. And therefore, the 7 groups of 3, which we counted as 21 blows, he counts as 7. Because he identifies them as 1. And therefore, the 16 groups of 3 that we counted for on the holiday of Sukkot, Al Moed Sukkot, Erev Shabbat, we counted the 16 groups of 3. Good morning, Simon. We counted the 16 groups of 3 as 48. He counts the 16 groups of 3 as 16. Because he doesn't count the Tekiah, Trua, Tekiah, each one as a separate counting. He counts it as 1. I'm going to give you a different example, interesting example. There's a mitzvah every day to put on tefillin. You need to put on the shel yad, right, Mr. Haber, and the shel rosh. Now, technically, they're 2 different mitzvahs, right, Simon? Technically, if someone only has one and not the other, he puts the one that he has on, without the other one. If he can't get the other one, whatever the case was, one became invalid. The shel rosh, something happened to the shel rosh, it's invalid, but the shel yad is valid. He puts on the shel yad. The question is, there's 613 mitzvot, right? We know there's 613 mitzvot that get, now, do you count the tefillin as 2 mitzvot of the Torah, of the 613? One, the shel yad is number 1, is one of the mitzvot, put it on the hand, and the shel rosh, and maybe our good friend Ralph is going to be organizing a Sephardi minyan in his summer home area, hopefully, and if they go in and they put on tefillin, you count it as 2 mitzvot you got out of 613, or is it 1 mitzvah?
20.
You group the shel yad and the shel rosh as 1 or 2. So the Rambam, Maimonides, in his counting of the 613 mitzvot, he counts the shel yad as 1, shel rosh as another one. So he counts them. They get playing time, so to speak. They make up part of the 613 mitzvot that they are counted as 2 mitzvot. The Ramban, Nachmanides, says no. We don't count the shel yad and the shel rosh as 2 mitzvot of the 613. They are counted as 1. And he obviously fills in a different mitzvah that the Rambam might not have counted as the mitzvah of the 613, but he counts it. So we see sometimes you can have something, when things are connected, there is a connection between the shel yad and the shel rosh, right? The Torah does write the mitzvot together. You do say, technically, you say a bracha, right? The Sfardim, right? You say one bracha before you tie your tefillin, right? You have it ready. You're about to tie it. Before you tighten it, you say a bracha, and that bracha goes for both the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel rosh. It covers both mitzvot, so they're definitely connected. The Ashkenazim, interesting. When the Ashkenazim say a bracha, when they put right before they tighten it, they have also in mind the shel yad and the shel rosh, but they make another bracha on the shel rosh as well. The Ashkenazim make a second bracha on the shel rosh. They put on the shel rosh before they put it into proper place. They say the bracha and then if they say the bracha, then once they put in the right place, then they say Baruch Shem for Machus Olam Vet. Okay, that is. So now the question is, how do you count these shofar blasts? Now the question is, what's the practical difference? How you count it, right? Right, Mr. Haber, if you counted these groups of 3 blasts as 1 or 3, what's the difference? So the big practical difference is, are you allowed to make a stop? Are you allowed to between one blow and the other blow? Is it that I'm only allowed to stop amount of time to take a breath, to breathe, breath, or can I make a longer interruption between the blows? So if you hold they're considered one, you can't make a interruption, right? Like Simon, and then 1, you have to blow Tekiah, Tia to, and then you go immediately. Maybe you can take one breath. Then you gotta go right to the trua, and then when you finish the trua, you gotta go. Want to take a breath? Take a breath. You take a breath, and then you go right to the, the language of Rashi is they would step an amount to take a breath. I wonder. It sounds like in the language of Rashi, see, it's something to look into. Is there a reason that they should specifically take a breath in between? Because you don't want it to be a run-on. You want to make sure that it's distinct. This is, the tekiah ended, and now before you before you do the next sound, you got to show it's over. This sound is over by taking a breath. Something to look into. But if you hold the separate mitzvot, if you count the three, let's say they're opening up the gates and they're blowing three sound. If you look at it as each one is a separate mitzvah, so if you want to take a little longer break, you want to take a break of 2 breaths, 3 breaths between the tekiah and the trua, it wouldn't be a problem if they counted as separate mitzvot. So that is the story. Now we know when we put on our tefillin, even if according to the Rambam that they counted as 2 different mitzvot, we don't interrupt. We don't take our time between the Shalyat and the Shalosh, because first of all, because the bracha, when we say the bracha, it's going for both. So that with the bracha is going for both, for the Shalyat and the Shalosh, you shouldn't interrupt. You shouldn't delay. You're supposed to go right to it. You can't talk between the Shalyat and the Shalosh, and you can't delay. Shouldn't delay. Interesting. I had the merit of praying with Moshe Feinstein as a kid in the yeshiva. How do you like that, Mr. Haber? And I observed him, and he did something very interesting when he put on his tefillin. What did he do? I actually took pictures of it because it was like something interesting to me. When he put on his shalyat, he put on his shalyat, and he wrapped around his hand. We wrap 7. I don't know what the Ashkenaz Sephardim do. Right? How many wraps you write? 7?
8.
Right. Okay. So what Moshe Feinstein did, he did originally, Morning Max, he did 3. He did 3. After he did it looked like around 3, he put on the Shalosh, and then he went back to make it 7. You know how he did it? He did 3. Max, you hear that? Moshe Feinstein. When he put on his tefillin, he did it. It looked like to me, he did about, when he put on the shalyat, he wrapped around his hand 3 times, the strap around the hand, which we do 7, or whatever the minhag, 8, whatever your custom is. We did 7. He did 3. Then he put on the shalosh, and then he went back to make it 7. And his son, Rabbi Reuven Feinstein, who Mr. Haber knows, he does the same thing. He follows his father's custom. Now, what's the reason for that custom? The reason for that is because he wanted to minimize the time between his blessing that he made. When you say the blessing on the shalyat, you're having in mind the shalyat and the shalosh. Even the Ashkenazim who say a second bracha on the shalosh, as well as on shalyat, they also have in mind when you put on the shalyat, the bracha. When you say the bracha, the sheikh, the shem, tefillin, it goes for the shalyat and the shalosh. And then you make another bracha shalosh. So to minimize the interruption, what did he do? He made it when he did a 3. Say it again.
Isn't this considered a fact?
See, he felt we want to minimize how much time you're gonna between. That's what I would understand his reasoning would be. It takes longer to wrap 7 around your hand than 3. All right. So therefore, by doing 3 and then putting a shalosh, then you go back. Because technically, if you have your tefillin in place, that's really the mitzvah. So therefore, he did 3. It looked like 3. Went to 7, then he went back, and then they put on the shalosh. They went back to do the 7. We're just showing you about sometimes how what people will do to minimize the time between between those two things. So the Gemara says we are on Nun Gimel Beis 53b3. The Gemara Masnitin the Lok Rabbi Yehuda. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya we learned in a Braita. Rabbi Yehuda says Hapochet lo yivchot misheva. When you're blowing every day, they blew the silver trumpets in the Beit HaMikdash. And Rabbi Yehuda says the amount of sounds that you will blow was not less than 7. He counts it as 7. Mosif, and then there are days of the year that you do more than 7. But the max is you'll never have lo Yosef al Sheish Esrei. You'll never have a day of the year, even during the holiday of Sukkot, even though the extra blows in honor of the Simchat Beit HaShoeva, in honor of going to draw the water, but nevertheless, and coming back from the drawing of the water, nevertheless, it was never more than 16. And the Gemara says, Max, just to bring you up to date, when it means the minimum was 7, that means there was 7 groups of 3. It was a tekiah, true and a tekiah, like we do on Rosh Hashanah, but it was 7 times you did that, you repeated that, and he counts the 7 times as 7. The Mishnah counted the 7 times that you did 3. The Mishnah says the 7 times you did 3, the Mishnah counted as 21. And the 16 times that you did 3, the Mishnah counted as 48. And he counts it as what? As 16, the 3 times. Yeah, and we just said, what's the difference, how you count? What's the practical difference? So we said the difference would be, can you make an interruption? Can you delay time between one blast to the second blast and the third blast? If you count it as 1, you can only have a separation of a breath, not more than a breath between each blow. If you count it as separate mitzvot, then you could go ahead and even have a longer separation. So the Gemara says our Mishnah does not fit with Rabbi Yehuda. Masnitin the Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda says he only counts it as 7 or 16, and our Mishnah counts it as 21 or 48. The Tanya Yehuda Omer Pochet lo yivchot misheva. You shouldn't do less than 7. Mosif lo Yosef al Sheish Esrei. And if you're going to do more, you're going to do more than, meaning on a day that you do more, there's no day that's more than 16. So the Gemara wants to understand, what is the source? Mr. Haber likes to say source, reason, right? But you have remember that thing. You know, every time you have to look at the source, you have to look at the reason, you have to know what is it, what's the source for the halakha. So the Gemara wants to understand what is the background, what is driving this view. You know, when a rabbi takes a position, they're taking one Akiva. When the rabbis take a position, they're taking a position because there's something driving them to take the position. So what's driving them to take this position? So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda Sava Tekiya Trua Tekiya Achati. He holds that they're one. Tekiya Trua Tekiya, he looks at it as one. And Rashi says it's one mitzvah, and if it's one mitzvah, it's counted as one. And the Rabbanan Savri and the Rabbanan hold Tekiya L'chud U'Trua L'chud. The Rabbanan hold these are separate mitzvot. The Tekiya is a separate mitzvah. The Trua is a separate mitzvah. It's a separate mitzvah. I counted as each one gets its own number. So the Gemara says, okay, you know what? You hold it as one mitzvah. You hold it as each blow as a separate mitzvah from 53b3. What makes you so confident in your position? What drove your position that you want? Okay, you hold it's one mitzvah. Maybe it's 3 mitzvot. How do you know that the tekiah, that Trua tekiah is one mitzvah? Maybe each sound is a separate mitzvah. So the Gemara says, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, he has a pasuk. Because the pasuk says, uskatem trua. The pasuk says you will blow a trua. So the pasuk opens up with a language of skatem. Skatem is tekiah, right? The word tekiah is from the word skatem, with the katem. And yet, while it's describing the tekiah, it concludes by saying the tekiah is a trua. It says skatem trua. So, and then we have another pasuk that says, trua yitku. You have another pasuk that says that you should blow the trua. But you use the language of tekiah to describe the trua. You said trua yitku. The trua is done with a tekiah. How is that possible? Alma, the fact that the Torah could refer to a trua as a tekiah, and we learn from here, tekiah, trua, achat. They are one, and they're not considered separate mitzvot. They're all considered one long mitzvah. Now, according to this, if it's one long mitzvah, it would come out that if you did one and not the other, you didn't get the mitzvah. If it's one long mitzvah, just like, when you take the lulav, etrog, and that's aravot, right? They're one mitzvah. If you take one, you do one and not the other, you don't get credit for the mitzvah of the Torah, of lulav, etrog, any of them, because you need all four in order to get credit. In contrast to tefillin, person only put on the shalyad or only put on the sharosh, you got a mitzvah for that, what you did. But when it comes to the lulav and the etrog, it's considered all one mitzvah. So maybe that would also be a difference between these two opinions of whether you got credit for the mitzvah of blowing. Well, let's say another nafkamina might be, I wonder, if a person is only able to blow one sound, he can't do all three sounds. Should he do that one or not? If you hold each one as a separate mitzvah, so do what you could do. If you hold it's all one mitzvah, so then you wouldn't be mandated to do take just that one thing, because you're not able to do the mitzvah. There might be, we have to look back in the halacha. The guy has a lulav and he's an etrog, but he's missing some of the four minim. It could be he maybe should take what he got, just so he should remember for the next year to do it. There might be discussion about that. We might have seen something about that. But there's no mitzvah, there's no mandate from the Torah to take one, and if one species, if you don't have all four. So the Gemara says, so that is what's compelled. That's what compelled Rabbi Yehuda to look at it as one mitzvah, because it describes the truah by referring to it as a tekiah. The Rabbanan say no, that's not the understanding of the pasuk. The fact that the Torah writes uskatem truah and describe it, which sounds like it's describing the truah with a tekiah as if they're one unit. No, it's telling you have to first do a tekiah, and then you have to do a truah. Then the other pasuk says truah yitka'u and follows with the tekiah. That means tekiah, truah, tekiah. But it's not one mitzvah. Each one is a separate mitzvah. Rabbanan, ahu, these psukim, kshuta lefaneh. Kshuta means straight sound, which is a tekiah sound. And in contrast to the trua, which is a broken sound, which is not a straight sound. Kshuta lefaneh, and you have a sound afterwards, tekiah afterwards, because it says trua yitka'u, trua, and then comes the tkiya. That's the meaning of psukim, but it's not one mitzvah. Each one is a separate mitzvah. So now the Gemara says, okay, that's how the Rabbanan will defend their position. But Rabbi Yehuda, how does he know you have a responsibility to blow a tekiah before and a tekiah after the truah? Since he uses the pasuk to teach you that they're counted as one, they're like one mitzvah, but how does he know that you blow, the tekiah has to precede the truah and the tekiah following the truah? So the Gemara says, nafkalei, but the pasuk says, uskatem truah shenit. It says in the pasuk, you will blow a second truah. And this, the earlier pasuk says that you will go ahead and you will blow for the camps that are in the east, and then now this pasuk talks about the camps that are in the south. This is talking about when they would blow the trumpets to notify the camps that it's time to travel. So the pasuk says, you blow in order. First, the pasuk says that you blow in order that the camps that are on the east, it's time for them to travel. And then the next pasuk, the other pasuk says that when you want the people on the south to go ahead and travel, says, and then you blow. So now why does the pasuk have to say you blow uskatem truah shenit a second time? Of course, it's a second truah. You just told me a moment ago that you blow for the other camp, so that now if I tell you blow a truah, the camp on the east travels. If I could just tell you, and then you blow a truah, then you can just tell me uskatem truah, and then the people on the south travel. You don't have to tell me, and you blow a truah a second time. Truah shenit, the second time you're blowing the truah. It's obvious that this is the second time you blow a truah. If I just told you a moment ago you blew a truah, is it climax? If I told you you're on the camps on the east, I tell you, you know what? I say like this. The Torah says, you blow the trumpets and the camps on the east travel. And then it says, and then the pasuk will say, and then you blow the trumpets and then the camps on the south travel. Do you have to tell me, and you blow the trumpet a second time? It's obvious it's a second time, because you just told me a moment ago you blew the trumpets for the camps on the east, and now you're telling me you blow the trumpets for the camps on the south. So it's obvious this is the second time you blow it. So why does the pasuk? It's the second time you're blowing your tekiah. So why does the pasuk have to say you blow the truah? You're blowing the truah a second time. What you got them truah a second time? So the answer is that's coming to teach you that after the truah, it teaches that after the truah there is a what? A tekiah. By telling you this extra word, it's teaching you this law. So the commentator says over here, the word, there's a pasuk that says truah yitku, right? The pasuk says truah you should blow. So it connects truah and tekiah as one. It calls it, identifies. Truah you blowing. Truah and tekiah. It uses when it explains the word truah, it refers to it as a tekiah, as if they're one. Truah yitku. Now, then there's another pasuk that says uskatem truah. So that pasuk uskatem truah, it mentions tekiah before truah. That teaches you that you always have to have the tekiah before the truah. And where does he know that you have to have a tekiah following a trua? That's this pasuk. Because this pasuk says, Uskatem trua shenit. And by the fact that it says Uskatem trua shenit, and we said the word shenit is extra, that means the shenit that's extra the second time. This second time, the word shenit is coming to say, trua shenit, you have to do a second time a tekiah following the trua. So we already know you got to do a tekiah before the trua. Where does he know you got to do a tekiah after the trua? Because the word shenit, which is extra, means a second time, is you have to go in and repeat the tekiah. That's how some understand how he learns it out. Okay. Yes.
So that second group about Shanit, like again, why would it have to be part of the same sequence? Like it could, like I could interpret that as do a tekiah, then a shua, and then take a breath, have sex, wait a little, and then do a tekiah again because you're just doing it. Why does it have to be immediate following those two?
Right, because what is he learns that it has to be that they're considered one from the other person, right? So your question is, how do we know it means it has to be after the trua?
Right, and not just second, another like 1, 2 tekiah trua, and then again tekiah trua. Why would it have to be like?
Would have to be a tekiah afterwards. Okay, it could be. We already have this historical precedent that there's always that we found a tekiah following a trua, meaning when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, when the Torah says you should blow a trua, always in Rosh Hashanah we always find there's a tekiah before the trua and a tekiah after the trua. So it could be that if the Torah is if the pasuk is now, I would say, Max, that the only way he knows this is from tradition, Rabbi the student. It's not that he on his own would have been able to come up like you're saying. And the verse itself does not necessarily lend itself that it means a tekiah afterwards. So I would presume to say it's more the oral law that when Hashem gave the Torah to Moshe Sinai, that the understanding of this rabbi was that this is the traditional that was given down, that the word shenit is coming. The explanation of the word shenit is coming for that meaning of that. So I would say it was probably his understanding was that was the explanation of you would on your own maybe you would not see it perhaps in the word shenit, and maybe because of maybe that's how he would understand that that the word shenit. So maybe on your own you wouldn't understand it, but only once there's but once there's a oral tradition, maybe he sees it in the first pasuk itself. But it's a good question because usually you should be able to see it in the verse itself, right? The verse itself should be able to tell you that it's referring to a tekiah a second time. Shkatem trua shenit. Unless, like I said, because we never found that precedent before of a tekiah and a trua. So therefore, maybe if it says shenit, the second something that you can do again, it would refer to more to a tekiah. It's a good question. So the Gemara says, Rabbanon my time. Why did Rabbanon say that it's 3 different mitzvot? Tekiah is one mitzvah, the trua is another mitzvah, and tekiah is another mitzvah. The Gemara says because when you would blow the trumpets to gather the kahal, to gather the Jewish people to come together, the verse says the following: Ubahakil es kahal. When you gather the people, titka'u v'lo tariu. you blow just the tkiya sound, and you don't blow the trua sound. You blow the tkiya without a trua. If tkiya and trua are always one mitzvah, if you hold that tkiya and trua and tkiya are one mitzvah, is the Torah going to tell you to do a half a mitzvah? Would the Torah tell you to do half of a mitzvah? If the Torah goes ahead and tells you just blow a tkiya, if you hold each one as a separate mitzvah, so you could, each one stands on its own. But if you identify it as one mitzvah, so we never. Why would the Torah tell you all three are one mitzvah? How could the Torah tell you to do a third of a mitzvah or half of a mitzvah? So definitely it has to be separate mitzvot. So, and Rabbi Yehuda says no. Rabbi Yehuda says really in general, tkiya, trua, tkiya, it's all one mitzvah. But when is it called one mitzvah? When you are blowing for the purpose, like if you're blowing you're bringing the karban, you're going to blow the set of three. But here, the purpose of blowing the shofar, blowing the trumpets to gather the people, was that was the simana ba'amudata. It was only a sign that Moshe wants to speak to them. It wasn't really a mitzvah. It wasn't a blowing of a mitzvah. You want to get the people together. You got to go ahead. How do you get the people together? If you could shout on your lungs, maybe also that would have been a way to get them together. It's not the mitzvah. It's only a sign. It's a practical sign. Rashi said, "Ain't a mitzvah." Interesting, right? But this opinion understands, Rabbi Yehuda, that it's not a mitzvah to technically do it that way, but this is the Torah tells you, this is how you get the people together. But it's not. This is not a mandate that it has to be done in this way. If there's some other, if you could figure out another way to do it, technically you could gather the people together in some other fashion, and therefore it's enough to do a tkiya by itself. But when the blowing is coming for a mitzvah, and the blowing is coming as a mitzvah, like in the Beit HaMikdash, or when it's time for the camps to travel. You see, it's the difference between the camps traveling and gathering the people together. Gathering the people that make this. Then, if it's for mitzvah, then the tkiya, trua, tkiya considered one mitzvah. The Rabbanan, what do they hold? They say it's true. Simanahu. It's a sign to get the people together, but Rahmana Shavi mitzvah. The Torah made into a mitzvah. Getting the people together, gather together, is a mitzvah to gather the people together with this sign and nothing else. And if the Torah and if it is a mitzvah and it comes without the truah, it shows you that they're independent of each other. So that's how the Gemara concludes. That's how the Gemara explains the different opinions of whether the three are one mitzvah or the three are separate mitzvah. Okay, we'll see everybody hopefully on Monday. Welcome everybody. Thank you very much, everybody. Ralph, all the best. Have a beautiful Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
You too. Keep up the good work, Ralph.
I'll try.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Ralph. I haven't seen you here in a long time.
Hi, Miguel. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Same here.
How's your wife doing?
Good. Everybody's good.
Thank God. Good to
Be
see you,
good.
Ralph.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye.